Punchboard Media, where we all bring something to the table. Pull up a chair at punchboardmedia.com.
Hey, isn't that one of those Cloak and Meeple shirts that you can get exclusively at geekygoodies.com/Cloak and Meeple?
Yeah,
Do you know
I picked up a couple of them.
Oh, do you know what? It would be really cool if there was like a 5-day event where we could wear like multiple colors and show them off.
Ah.
So we are here at Steve Jackson Games with Rhea, and we're seeing what they have going on. They have a whole bunch of events and stuff going on. So what's going on here at Origins?
Oh yeah, we're super, thank you guys so much for having me, by the way. We're super excited. This is our first time in a while being at Origins, and we came in guns blazing. So we've got a whole slew of events kind of on our wall over there, and we have tons of stuff going on. We have Steve Jackson himself, who's actually doing what time is it now? He's got a ogre thing that he's doing right now, but then later, 1 p.m. Friday, he's going to be doing an ogre versus Steve Jackson, where a bunch of ogre players get to come and play with him. And so that'll be really fun. So we've got signings, we've got all kinds of stuff going on there. We also have a lot going on with the Munchkin collectible card game. As you can see, this is still pretty early in the con, but we've got tons of folks coming in either to learn to play or to participate in one of our draft events. If you pick up an issue of GTM here at the show, it actually has a Munchkin CCG booster packed inside of it. So that's
cool.
That's kind of a cool thing for the folks here at the show. We also have free RPG Day going on, so anyone can participate, even if you're not here at the show. You just go to your local game store that's participating in free RPG Day, and you can get a Munchkin CCG card. So that's Saturday, I believe, is that's happening. But we also have cards here, so if you're participating, we have cards for free RPG Day at the booth if you're at Origins too. And then we got Ogre events, CCG events, and of course we have Munchkin events going on as well. We've got everything from Learn to Play to the Munchcathlon, which is a big, huge Munchkin event where you get to play all kinds of different Munchkin sets. And that one can be really fun, really exciting for folks. And you guys all know about a lot of our bigger lines, but you may notice that our logo is the Illuminati. So Steve came out with a game, I think it was in the 80s, called Illuminati. It's a clever, fun, silly card game that pokes fun at current events. Well, events have changed since the 80s, and even though it's sold consistently well since then, we haven't done a new edition until now. So we're coming out with a new edition this fall, and we're really excited to have that here at the show for folks to look at if they're interested. And then I also have a few of our, actually I think this might be the good one to show on the stream. We have Super Kitty Bug Set that came out recently, so everyone knows about our Munchkin line, our retro games line, but we also have a line of games that are more just sort of quick, fun, silly, 15-minute games. And so this is one of the newer from that line, Super Kitty Bug Slap. So I thought, short feed, I could just show you guys how to play very quick. All right. In Super Kitty Bug Slap, you shuffle these up. Each player gets one. One person is the dealer. I'm going to be the dealer. We're going to pretend like there's some other players here. The dealer does not get a cat. Each cat has 3 aspects. It has a color, which is purple or orange. It has a shape, which is either circle or square, and it has a bug that is either a fly or a ladybug. Seems simple enough. This will be your cat for the entire round. You want to slap, it is a speed game. You want to slap cats that match at least one aspect with your cat, which seems simple enough. But I'm sure if you've played these kinds of games, you can get where...
Definitely in practice, it gets chaotic.
Exactly. I believe folks have drawn blood with this game, which is saying something for such a cute, adorable looking game, right? Like, what the heck's going on with that? So let me kind of give you guys an example. So there's a great example. So if you're this, you would want to touch that.
Slap that, or
No, you would want to hit. So this is you.
oh, you only slap your own.
You only want to get, so you would hit this cat.
Oh, okay.
Bring him towards you. All right, that's your cat, right? And you would want to do it before, let's say, the other purple player got
I got
that
it.
one. All right. Nobody wants this kitty. He doesn't match anyone's color or shape, so he would go back out. And so it would be a speed base. There's only one of us. The dealer would put out one at a time. And you go until everyone's the dealer. Whoever has the most correct ones wins. So if you have ones that are incorrect, those actually count against you. So those are minus 2 points. So you just sort of total the score and see who wins. So that's a very simple, quick little game, but it's fun. It's silly. We play it with kids.
You can pull it off as educational.
Yeah.
As shapes, colors.
Shapes, colors, yeah. 6 and up for this one, and yeah, it's out. It's in stores now. So.
That was actually pretty cool, and I could see maybe possibly making a little bit of a drinking game too.
I can't say that, but you can.
I can say that, but
you can absolutely say that. Yeah.
Good for adults as well. How's
Great.
that?
Yes. Also good for adult fun. There we go. That's the way to put it. So I hope that kind of covers at least the skim of the surface of what we're doing here. But I'm so excited to be back at Origins. This has been a blast. It's been fantastic already, and it's just day one. It's
Yes, we're barely started.
Yeah, it's. I don't even think the hall is open yet, right?
No.
Like the hall doesn't even open until tomorrow.
Correct.
Yeah. So I'm so enthusiastic right now. I'm having so much fun.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much for sitting down and talking to us and showing off this game and everything. So, and have a great con.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Thank you.
So we are here at Mayday Games with Ryan, and we're seeing what they have here. They have some preview stuff going on that'll be coming out at Gen Con, but they have some other stuff that's available now. So what do we have going on today?
I'll show you a game we had come out a few weeks ago that's new to Origins. It's called Cahoots by Jay Treat. So this is a trick-taking card game for 3 to 4 players. Takes about 30 minutes to play. So in Cahoots, each player is dealt a suit card that you see right in front of these players that are playing right now. And those are the suits they're interested in. Those are the suits they're going to score. So each player will play 2 cards in a round. At the end of the round, the highest numerical value of cards summed together for a suit will win that round. So for example, if what we're seeing out here, if there were 2 heart cards and they were a total value of 13, and that's the highest number out there, the players that have the hearts would win that round. At the end of the round, each player will go around and take a card to either burn, get rid of out of the game, or put one card back in their hand. It doesn't necessarily need to be the one that they played. So the interesting dynamic with the game, and I think where the game really shines, is where there's a lot of allegiances that can switch. So if we're paired together as clubs and I'm paired together with someone else as stars, you could lay a high star out to try to tempt me to play a high star if I had it, or if I want to pair with my club's player. Or if I have a suit that doesn't matter to me, I can affect how those points are scored with other players too. So there's a really kind of, you can mess around with the people that way, which I think it makes it really interesting. It's a unique trick-taking game. What happens is the timing mechanism of the game is your hand will dwindle down because you're burning 4 cards around. So at the end of the game, you'll basically play out your hand and have nothing left. That's Cahoots. We're really excited for it, and that's new to Origins this year. So. And over here, I don't know if I'll bust it out, but I'll explain it. We have Bad Doctor. This will be our Gen Con release. by Eric Mangan and Dan Germain. Artwork done by Bill Holbrook. So in Bad Doctor, really interesting theme, we are all bad doctors. So what we're trying to do is our patients are going to pass away, but we just don't want that to happen on our shift. So we're just going to do the best we can to treat them and make sure that doesn't happen on our shift, that it happens on another player's. But we want the credit for actually attending them. So we'll get some victory points that way. And there's some, the artwork's really silly, some funny little things that we've added in there. There's a lot of little Easter eggs that Bill's hidden in the artwork. But it's actually much more than a funny artwork type of game. There's a lot of game to it and really some unique mechanisms. We're really excited to have this as our Gen Con release, this Bad Doctor. Over here, we are showing off Poetry Slam, which is our Origins release. This is new to Origins. In Poetry Slam, don't be afraid, it is a party game, but in Poetry Slam, players are working to create little poems based off of these letters in the game. So, for example, if you look out in the middle of the board here, we have the letter C. So they're trying to create poem using that. But during the game, they're also marking off spots where they can't use these letters, except, for example, they can use a C, but in the game, they're marking off these X's on the boards, which makes it harder to try to create poems without using some of these letters in the game. And the poem also has, the word also has to be, for example, the third letter from the last is C, so they have to put that into their poem here. What's interesting about this too is there's a speed element to it to try to finish your poem. Then you have to recite your poem, but there's also slam tokens into which if I did a poor job or really weak effort, I can get slammed and take a hit with that. But it's a fast party game. It's more than just a light, silly party game. There's a lot of deeper mechanisms in it for gamers to play. But that's Poetry Slam, not Party Slam. Poetry Slam, we're really excited for that one here at Origins. So. I'm trying to think what else we have for you. I think that might be about it. Everything else is... Oh, we have Yummy Yummy Pancake. Do you want to give the spiel?
Yeah.
This is John D., our marketing manager here.
Hello. Hello. You want me to start over and give the spiel? All right.
Sorry.
It's okay. So this is Yummy Yummy Pancake. And you have all of these pancake tokens, and they start out face down. Let me get this water, sorry. And you select randomly 8 pancakes, and you put them in your frying pan. And as you do that, you flip them face up. 2, 4, 6, 8. And then you show all of the other players your pancakes. And they want to very quickly try to memorize the flavors of the pancakes. And these are various flavors. You have like strawberry, chocolate chip, banana, blueberry, and there's like a kiwi. And once the other players have tried to memorize these pancakes, you're going to try to flip these pancakes. And I am not very good at this. But you have to try to get at least 2 of these pancakes flipped face down. So now I have got 2 of these face down. And I'm going to ask Stephanie here, what flavor of pancake is this? Chocolate chip. So then I'm going to flip it up, and she's correct. So then she gets this pancake. If she had been incorrect, then I get the pancake. And the first player to get 12 pancakes either wins the game, or if all of the pancake tokens have run out, then the game is over and the player that has gotten the most pancakes wins the game. So it's a little bit dexterity for the active player and then memory for the players that aren't active at the time. So that's Yummy Yummy Pancake.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you both so much. So we are here with Matt Shoemaker, and we are talking about Bees Alive. So what do we have going on here?
Oh, why, thank you. So what we have here is a worker placement game. It also has a lot of resource management in this. So despite it being about insects, there's quite a bit of economic management in this game.
Okay.
So what we have here is a game for 1 to 4 players with a play time of about 30 minutes per player, where you are managing a beehive. So I've been a beekeeper myself for the past 8 years, and I've been developing games in an educational setting for that time, and I thought, why not bring something, combining those hobbies, and bring it out here? So what we have here is the internal part of your hive. There are 2 parts of the game. This is the first one. What we have here is representing your comb for the hive. So within your comb, of course, you have all of your worker bees. You start the game with 3 of them, and you can grow it up to 20. You also, of course, need to have a queen for your game to, rule your hive, because what's a hive without a queen and a ruler?
Of course.
There are 4 different kinds of those. So you choose which one you're going to have, and this goes here, and she is going to be kind of the asymmetrical part of this game for you. Your queen lets you modify different aspects in the game of how you're going to interact with your other players, or by yourself if you're playing the solo mode with the AI-driven hive, which I'll get to more in a little bit. Now, next to your workers that are here, we have your comb. You start off with 10 comb, which is why these are grayed out, and this little bit here just signifies where your comb stops. Part of your game is expanding your comb. So your comb is what comes into the resources. There are really 5 resources in this game. The first one is your worker bees. They are not just workers in this game, they are also a resource. There is a hidden resource that I'll get to in a little bit. We also have here these yellow cubes. These represent honey in the game. Honey is in a lot of ways the most important resource in the game for you, because honey lets you feed your bees. You need 2 honey cubes. You need 1 honey cube to feed 2 of your bees. If your bees don't eat, they die, because, bees got to eat. The next resource is these orange cubes here, which are pollen cubes. Now, pollen is, for those of you that don't know much about bees, the only time bees get protein in their entire lives. So this is fed to them when they are larvae growing up. Every pollen cube you have will turn into an adult bee. And these are all stored over here in your comb. The final resource is a specialty resource here, which is water. Water is used to cool your hive. Bees are able to air condition off all of their hives, prevent things from happening. So when it's hot months of summer, you need to be able to keep your brood alive basically by regulating the temperature. So use this in that. The final resource is your eggs. So the way bees work is it's pretty simple, actually. If they don't think they have space, they're going to do something called swarming, which I'll get to in a minute. It's how they reproduce in the wild. So there's 2 ways you run out of space. The first is that you have all of your resources filled, and that means there's no room for eggs in your hive. If all 10, in this particular case's resources are filled up, your bees think there's no space for new baby bees, and they're out of there. If, however, you had, let me just put a couple of these in here for example, you got a bunch of honey sitting in your hive, and a couple pollen, you've got 1 empty space, so that's 1 egg. So that 1 egg is going to eat this pollen and turn into a brand new bee for you. Nope, not 2. 1 bee. There we go. Okay. So the way you can expand this is by taking several actions. As I mentioned, this is also a worker placement game. The first action I've got listed here is the build wax one. What that is you spend 2 of these precious honey cubes, and you can expand this up by 1. Now we've got 11 spaces, more spaces for resources. More resources mean better engine. The next one here is clean bees. So bees, when they're going out in the world, also happen to pick up a lot of diseases. We represent those here by this little varroa mite meeple. The varroa mite is one of the biggest parasites bees are facing today. And so every time you just forage bees, you pick up a little disease. If you're robbing other bees, which is one of the ways you interact with them, which is something bees do in the real world, by the way, you move this guy up the track. First 2 spaces don't do anything. After this, bad stuff starts happening. You start having fewer and fewer bees that you are able to hatch, and it really impacts you during the winter season of the game. The next one is the robbing action. I'll come to that when I talk about the player map. Same with defend. Cooling hive, I already mentioned, that involves the water cubes. Requeening, I mentioned there are 4 queens to this game. Let's say you don't like your 1 queen or you need to change her for a strategic reason. You spend 1 worker bee, take the requeen action, she's dead. And you choose a new one. That's how that goes. And finally is the scout action, which is going to bring us out here to the player map. So the player map starts off with just you on a bloom tile here. There are 4 seasons in this game. You start off in the first month of spring, and then there are 3 months to every season. So bloom tiles are best in the spring. Then we move on to here, the wilt tile, the yellow ones, which are best in the summer. And then we have the harvest tiles here, the orange ones that are best in the fall. We do have a 4th tile, which is a wet tile, and that is the only tile you can usually get water in. There are some things that can affect that. If you notice here, we have 3 different card decks that provide a little bit of change meant to kind of replicate the weather in the real world that will change what you can get from these. So when you take the scout action, you're going to take a bee, explore randomly, and plunk down what you got. I got a wilt tile. These are going to build up. You're going to have a map eventually that might look something like this. And you can then take various actions in these. Now, as I mentioned before, you can interact with other players out there, so let's just build really quickly here. Another little hive. Now, at the moment, these are all separated. But however, at the end of the spring season, we've got an interesting mechanic people have been enjoying, where you get to merge these maps. This happens just once in the game into whatever form you want to that strategically benefits you or your opponents. Now, something else I didn't mention, I talked about it very briefly though, is swarming. So swarming is one of the best ways to score victory points in this game. You get 5 points for doing it in the spring, 3 for doing it in the summer, and 1 for doing it in the fall. And when you do, you spawn one of these over here. Those are called a wild hive. You get to choose where you're going to place this on the map, and they are driven by a simple AI that will either try to rob other players nearby, rob you, rob each other. They will also occupy these tiles with workers of their own, so you cannot utilize them. Now, you may also rob these hives, stealing their honey, adding that to your own pool, weakening them, and earning victory points in doing so as well. That is basically the game in a nutshell. You go through these seasons, you continue to explore the map, you do things bees do every day of their lives, and try to get as many points as you can to win the game.
And learn something about bees if you don't know anything about them.
That's right. You definitely learn a lot playing about bees with this game. Yeah.
Awesome. And this is going to be on Kickstarter?
That is correct. We are looking for a fall launch. I'm aiming for early September, but I cannot guarantee that's when we are going to be hitting yet.
Okay. So we will definitely look for this when it hits Kickstarter, and best of luck.
Why, thank you very much.
Thank you. So that is pretty much the end of our Wednesday here at Origins. There's never a lot going on this first day anyways, so that is about it. Make sure you subscribe and tune in to tomorrow where there will be more going on. I'll have a lot more interviews, so stay tuned.